Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Motor Mike Media, and as always, I'm Motor Mike, and today I'm here with this, the cheapest running and driving 2010 Limited Expedition, and this vehicle is $250. That's right, $250 for a full-size SUV that runs, drives as four-wheel drive, and has lots of luxurious features. So let's talk about, we'll start with styling in the front end. This is the Limited trim, so color matching body panels. No chrome grills and stuff like that. It is kind of a cheap plastic, but it does look good. You got the smoked out lights up front. But the big problem with these vehicles from the mid 2000s was, well, the paint. Basically, they try lots of aluminum components and you get corrosion, the paint doesn't want to adhere right. So that's the biggest problem with this vehicle right now is there's rust on some of the steel components, but some of the aluminum components, well, the paint's peeling away. But for $250, you can't complain. The front end, it's bold, it's in your face, and it's a little bit luxurious. Let's look at the side profile. So just look at this thing. Like I said, it's a full-size SUV. I'm about 5'11". The vehicle's taller than me, it has decent ground clearance, but a nice silhouette. Everything's pretty simple when it comes to the body lines, but because it's square, it maximizes the interior volume for not only yourself, but for the cargo as well. Now, other things about the vehicle, the little chrome here, body matching panels, but you can see down here, the power running board, if I open the door, it doesn't do anything. Well, that's one of the things that's wrong with the vehicle, why it's $250 is one stuck up and the other side it's stuck down. But you can see right here, this is steel, it is starting to rust away. But the interior, well, it's in decent shape. You can see little rips and tears here, but we'll get more in that in a minute. I like this because it's big and bold. If I open the back doors, the door swings out pretty decently. You can see more rust. Right here, the door skin, basically where the metal folds up, is all starting to rust too, and rusting here. One of the good things is when you close the door, you forget about it, it's not even there. This is gonna be a vehicle, it's a quick flip, something that my dad bought for $250 that he can make some money on. This is a decent vehicle. People want SUVs, especially big ones that can tow. But when I do get back here, you can look at the seat. That seat is perfect. The front seat's got the rip, but in the back, it looks brand new. The carpets look brand new. The door panel itself, lots of hard plastics, a lot of vehicles like that. You have the finest fake wood from plastic trees, but a little accents here and there, kind of sprucing it up. Now, if I get in the vehicle, oh yeah. So I'm 5'11", like I said. I have some headroom. This is actually a little further back than where I would sit, but I have plenty of leg room. The seat's relatively comfortable. I do have an armrest on the side, and you have all the cool features. This does have a DVD player. So back in the day in 2010, this was really cool. You have aux ports. If I take the camera for a quick second, I can show you. It comes down. You have all your controls. You have your air vents, which is nice, and you have all this room to get into the back. That is a third row, and I will show you that in just a second. Before we show you the third row, I want to show you this. This is the little controls, and basically you have your air temperature control, so you can control the temperature here in the rear, but you do have heated seats, which is a really cool feature. And showing you this one more time, old school things, I'd like to see it. So because this was a luxurious trim, you have power buttons to control those third row seats. So let's show those in action. All right, so all you have to do is take these buttons and hold them down, and the seats will slowly rise up. Now, most modern vehicles have this feature on like a mid-trim level. The luxury cars have this standard. But back in the day, this was a cool little feature. It is a little slow, but you simply come up here, you grab this little tab and fold it up, and you have yourself a nice third row seat. But let's look at the storage back here real quick. So we're in the back here, and you can see I have part of the third row seat up. This space back here is not very plentiful. You do have a nice little storage bin under here. It's reserved for your jack. You could put something very small here or remove that if need be. But your cargo back here, there's not a whole lot of room. So that's why they made an L version of these vehicles back in the day. The L would give you extra length in the rear end. The new vehicles nowadays call it the Max trim. But you do have a 40-60 split back here. So if you do need room for more cargo and less people, like I said, you hit that button, make sure this is folded down, and that folds down. And you can see with the third row down, this is very plentiful because the vehicle is all squared off. You have plenty of room for your cargo back here, and those rear seats are quite luxurious. So looking at the back of the vehicle, big old glass in the back to help with rearward visibility. Nice little chrome accents. It says Expedition Limited here, but you can see all this corrosion everywhere. That's the big problem. Like I said, all the aluminum components start to corrode and corrode very quickly. And it kind of looks ugly, but it's another reason why you get these on the cheap. Now you can see down here, this vehicle did do a little bit of towing back in its day, and that's what people bought these for. They're big, they're large, they were fairly luxurious for 2010, so you have room for your cargo, your people, and you get towed a little over 9,000 pounds. I really like the overall styling of the vehicle, I like the interior, but let's look at that front dash. So this is the dash of this vehicle. Now it's supposed to be more luxurious, so you do have some accents, some fake wood here, but I kind of like the overall styling. Now yes, hard touch plastics. This is basically the Super Duty dash back in the day. But you have a big steering wheel, leather wrap, simple controls here, the fake wood on top. I like the gauge cluster. It looks pretty nice. Overall styling's all right. Right here, you have your controls for your four-wheel drive system. You have the vents. These are the old Ford vents. You can spin them in any direction. You can close them. They worked all right. You saw them in the Lincoln products first, and they trickled down the Ford. On top of the dash, because it's hard plastics, little storage nooks. You can throw your wallet up there, your keys or whatever. Down here, cup holders, traditional gear lever. This is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and you have a little touch screen. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. But I do like the button layout. It's nice and simple. I have AC seats, which is very luxurious. Heated seats, your AC controls. Now, yes, the screen is small, but we'll go into more detail in a minute. But I like the overall layout. It's kind of rugged, it's kind of macho. Has a little bit of luxury here. Now, right here, center console, open it, close it. It's not very padded. So you put your arm here, it is a little hard, but sitting in this seat, well, the seat itself is comfortable. This seat has a rip, but you have a nice commanding view of everything. This is the day of safety and stuff. So the pillars are a little thick. You might have to look around them depending on where you seat. But I like the vehicle. Sunroof, which is nice to have. Nowadays you have giant panoramic roofs, but back in the day, a little one was fine. And just nice little visors. You can slide into the side. There's a little mini visor here too. So it's nice to see these little features here and there. All right, so here's the gauge cluster for you guys. It's a nice simple gauge cluster. I like it though with little chrome accents to sprucing it up. And here's that little tiny screen. Now it is a touch screen, you can touch it. You also have lots of buttons on the sides of it. This is very primitive. It is a little sluggish and slow, but back in the day, this was basically really competitive with all the luxury brands and stuff like that. It's crazy to see how far technology has come. But the overall layout is pretty nice in the dash. So before we go for a drive in the Expedition, like I said, the seat's comfortable. I wish the armrests were a little better. They're a little stiff. But like I said, there's a few problems with these vehicles. One being the blend door. So if I start the vehicle, my seat moves forward, you hear that. That tit, tit, tit. That was the blend door. You got your tire pressure sensor, another failure there. Like I said, there's some sensors that are bad, electronics that can be bad, blend door goes bad, spark plugs just detonating. There are some problems with these vehicles, but once you start it, the engine's relatively smooth. All your sensors go off, and let's go for a drive. So what is it like to drive a 2010 Expedition Limited? Well, it's nice. The vehicle's smooth. The engine right now is running great. The transmission's shifting nicely. A nice commanding view. You do sit up very high. A pretty nice greenhouse. Now, this was the days of safety becoming more and more of a priority. So some of the pillars are a little thick. So depending on where you sit in the vehicle, the A pillar might be a problem. The C pillar, it's a little big, but overall, pretty good visibility. I like the commanding view, like I said. And it's pretty nice. The seat's very comfortable. You have so much space in here. Headroom, leg room. There's a good amount of room between me and my passenger, my camera woman. And I like the sunroof. It's a nice feature. It does feel a little bit luxurious. You have the fake wood and stuff like that. But you're driving around looking at this old school navigation system. It's a little bit of a nostalgia factor. This is a good vehicle. If you want to carry people around, you want to tow something, this was a good option back in the day. All right, so we've come to a stop. Let's give it the beans. The engine's a little loud. It's pretty sluggish. Now, I don't want to push this thing too hard, but these vehicles, they're very, very heavy. So this engine, it made decent power for the day, but this thing isn't quick. It moves pretty nicely on its feet. Once you get going, that's where the power band is. But you're not gonna win any drag races in this thing. This is meant for just nice cruising with people or towing something. So under the hood of the Expedition is the 5.4 liter Triton engine. Loved and hated by mechanics because, well, these engines can have some problems. You can go online to the forums and go through everything and see which model years were more affected, but there's spark plug issues, wiring issues, some things that could be very, very expensive later down the road. So that's a big Achilles heel about these. Now they made about 310 horsepower and about 365 pound-feet of torque in 2010, which is less power than the Tahoe, but more torque than the Tahoe. Now, this vehicle has over 200,000 miles, and for the most part was serviced quite regularly. These vehicles can be kind of costly to maintain and be even more costly later down the road. So this is the biggest Achilles heel. The power plant itself, when it is working, is relatively smooth. But with the spark plug issues and other issues like that, it can be very costly. So that's one thing to worry about these vehicles. But over 200,000 miles, and right now it's running strong. Now there is a manifold leak right now. We do have some sensors that are going wrong right now. There's corrosion on the body, rust and stuff like that. The bumper's a little cracked as well. The running boards don't want to work, but it's running and driving. The heated seats work, the cooled seats work, the touchscreen works, and the engine seems relatively healthy right now. So this is a pretty good vehicle for someone looking for their first car, a vehicle they want to use to tow on a cheap budget. Well, that's it, guys. This is the cheapest running and driving 2010 Expedition Limited in the USA for $250. It runs, it drives. It needs a little bit of work, but this would be a quick flip. Someone looking for their first car, someone that wants to tow something, has room for family and their cargo. I really like this thing. It's pretty smooth driving. Yes, it's not very modern when some of the features in there, but it does have things that I don't have in my Jeep, like heated seats, cooled seats, and the touchscreen. Even though it's a little slow, it's kind of cool and nostalgic in a way. And I like that rear DVD player. Hook up a Nintendo 64 and have fun like the good old days. Well, that's all I have for you today. I thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already and you want to, please check out my channel. I keep trying to give you guys more and more content. It's about cars, trucks, crossovers, and SUVs. Combustion engines, just like this, and EVs, a little of everything, but please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you guys can stay up to date with the latest and greatest from my channel. And as always, I truly appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.